tempted to stop right there. I don't know what else there is to say. But I won't. I've run across a little book recently called A Consumer's Guide to Preaching. I don't recommend it to read it. When I was a boy, my father often took me fishing at a lake nearby our town. We usually fished from a small boat. One day, as we were fishing, my lure got tangled up in some brush. As I started forward to untangle it, Dad rose up and shouted, "Don't!" Whereupon he promptly fell out of the boat. I remember seeing his hat floating on the water as he sputtered to the surface. I don't recall exactly, but I think we both laughed. I know I did. Later, Dad asked me, "Did you learn something today?" "Yes," I said, "I learned that you shouldn't stand up in a boat." One lesson from this story goes beyond that. It is to understand the circumstances one is in and respond appropriately. I've tried to make that a part of who I am. One more story. This one's fiction, and you have to be careful to follow because you might miss something. I used to tell it to our grandkids along with other similar stories. There once was a little dog named Odie. Odie got his name from the word odiferous because he had very bad breath. Odie lived on a farm, and oddly enough, he hung out with farm animals that were far different from him. 4 of these were a little red hen and her chicks. One day, Odie took the chickens fishing. They planned to catch their dinner with fish. But they had no luck. Now, Odie had brought some dog food along just in case, but he didn't have enough for all of them, and besides, the chickens didn't eat dog food. By mid-afternoon, they were all hungry, but Odie didn't want to eat his food while the others sat and watched. So he devised a plan to feed them all. He stuck the end of a soda straw into the water over the side of the boat, and then he reached down with his mouth and huffed and puffed and blew into the other end. It wasn't long before fish began jumping into the boat. They were trying to escape Odie's. Well, suffice it to say, dinner was served to all, and there was enough to go around. The point, of course, of this story is that there are different kinds of people in the world with different needs, but they all share certain needs, like the need to be fed. Odie found a way to feed others unlike himself. Is this a parable? I don't know, but it is a story with a moral point, and I'm pretty sure the grandkids got it. Their lives since, and I have to say under the tutelage of their parents, have seemed to reflect it. So relating to stories can help us learn much about who we are. Some good, perhaps some bad. Now the Bible is full of stories. In fact, it could be called one long story. It's about God and us. If we read it, we will learn a great deal about who we are. The Isaiah passages tell us a lot about who God is. and who Israel is. They and the whole Bible can help us understand who we are and who we are willing to become. Old Testament stories tend to be longer. The New Testament stories are shorter. We call many of them parables. These illustrate or teach something of the truth about God and us. Take, for example, the parable about the pearl of great price found in Matthew 13. We certainly can visualize a priceless pearl, and we can understand how one might give anything to get it. But the story doesn't really end there, does it? What is my pearl, your pearl of great price? What would I give up? What would you give up to get it? What would possessing it do for me, for you, or to you, to me? Do the answers to these questions reveal a bit about who we are? And what about the parable of the divided kingdom in Mark 3? We can see this story playing out in our current political discourse. And yes, even in the church. We might learn a lot about ourselves by asking questions like, how did we allow ourselves to get to this place of conflict? And what are we willing to do to reconcile the differences between us? We need to be honest with ourselves, all of us, so that we can figure these things out. If we don't, we will not stand. The Old Testament scripture read today is part of a larger story about on-again, off-again relationships between God and Israel and us. This story suggests that many of us, if we admit it, might be ambivalent about religion. God is not. That should tell us a lot. The Israelites had been through a difficult time, the Babylonian captivity, and rejoiced at their deliverance. At first, their worship and fasting reflected this and were sincere. But then these deteriorated into acts that satisfied them, but ignored God's expectations. God chastises them and spells out the behavior he expects. I put the hymn, "When I Survey the Wondrous Cross," between the two Old Testament readings for a point. For even though it is oriented toward the New Testament, the solution to the problems of Israel and the problems we have with conflict are found in this hymn. They are the same. Isaac Watts had the dilemma pegged. Read Matthew 25 along with Isaiah 58. Watts' hymn is both a lament and a pledge. Does it represent who we are? Charles Wesley thought it so much for him that he said he would give up all the other hymns he had written just to have written this one. On another matter, I'm afraid I have a bone to pick with the idea of salvation by faith alone. I may be excommunicated for this. Perhaps I misunderstand, but I believe that faith and behavior are intimately bound with one another. I believe you can't really have one without the other. Bess and I call this love in action. What did Gandhi say? Something like, if Christians truly lived by the Sermon on the Mount, truly lived, there wouldn't be a Hindu left in India. I don't know about that,